Welcome to Eternal Rambles, where the Eternals ramble eternally. My name's Aaron.
And I'm Kodig.
And today we're going to be talking about PS5 and the likenesses of. So we actually got a launch console of PS5 disc version because my brother-in-law ordered two to make sure at least one would show up on time. They both were, so he was going to cancel the order. We're like, nah, man, we'll take it.
Yeah. Originally, I was trying to pre-order the PS5 on my own, but
they only made 500.
Yeah, they only made like 500, and since I work so much, I didn't really have an opportunity to try and pre-order it myself. So I was glad that he came up with that offer. I was like, oh, I still owe people money? $550 for a new console? Oh, that's nothing.
Debt. Postponing paying off debt to play video games.
And like the week before that, I got a new PC, so that was...
So he gets home every day. He's like, console or computer?
Yeah, because it's my first time owning a PC. It's my first time, a lot of people's first time owning the PS5.
No, you don't say. New console, first time? No. So the launch title we got our hands on was Spider-Man Miles Morales, and we got the special edition. So we got Spider-Man PS4 remastered. So that's a lot of fun. First thing that everyone talks about is the controller. It's a lot heavier for anyone who has... It's not recording, is it?
No, it's recording.
It is?
Yeah, I'm just like curious on how much it recorded.
Oh,
did it record that first? Okay, yeah, it did.
Okay. Sorry, this is our first time doing this. I don't know if we're going to keep that in or not. But I just looked over. I just looked over at Kodig's face, and like he had just like the biggest eyes for a second.
I thought it wasn't because like it moved over, so I was like, please don't tell me to record this entire time.
So the controller, for anyone who has not,
oh my god, it is a beauty.
Who has not had the privilege and honor of holding one and playing with it, it's a lot heavier than you think it is. It's like anyone who's been a long time console owner in general, but specifically PlayStation, like we have. It's like you pick up the PS5 controller and then play with it, and then go back to any other PlayStation controller.
And like
even
you hit yourself in the face, just like
it's so much.
Just lift this up.
Like, there's a huge difference in weight and also size. Of course, I was always like, whenever the PS3 transitions to the PS4, I liked the larger controller. It felt like I can actually wield it properly. And then jumping from the 4 to the 5 is like, it's not a huge size difference. Pardon me. It's not a huge size difference, but it is. It's enough. Like my pinkies, because we're big manly men with man hands. Our pinkies don't just like float
underneath the controller.
We actually can grip it nice and easy.
Like that was one of my biggest problems with the PS4 controller, which is, in my opinion, before the PS5 controller, in my opinion, was the best controller on the market. But with whenever I was holding it, it would often be a problem of my pinkies getting cramped, being underneath the controller. Mm-hmm. But now with the PS5 controller, it's just long enough that us with the big American hands,
And we emphasize Americanness by using non-American accent.
But, one of my favorite features, obviously, is the adaptive resistance on the triggers. That they really display really well in the demo game.
Yeah, Asher's Playroom. For those of you who got PS4 and saw Asher's Playroom was a feature for that. For those of you who played it, you'd probably find out that it was pretty boring. And for those of you who didn't play it, it was pretty boring.
Yeah.
Then PS5, it's so much better. It's like a 2-hour experience, even if you're trying to get all the collectibles. It's a collectathon, but like a very short one, obviously. It's like Banjo-Kazooie or Mario Odyssey or things like that. It doesn't play quite like those games. It's much simpler mechanics-wise, but that's the general feel. Is you run around areas, you grab secrets and things, and throughout the entire game are nods to PlayStation games throughout the years, and it's not divided. Like, while each section is dedicated to each PlayStation generation 1, 2, 3, and 4, the references are not exclusive to that. Like, for example, in the PlayStation 3 area, we saw a God of War 4 reference, and in the PlayStation 1 area, you can see references to not PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 areas. You can see references like Final Fantasy 7 and other things. There are a lot of references in that game. So anyone who gets a PS5, it's free. I would highly recommend it.
Well, it comes downloaded. It automatically comes downloaded.
Yeah, but just because it's automatically downloaded doesn't mean people are going to play it. I recommend you do play it. It's cute, it's quaint, it's fun enough. It's a great tech demo, and there's a platinum for it for those of you who care.
Yeah, because I've already gotten the platinum trophy for it. Got that shit in like 2 days.
Yes, 2 days.
Yeah,
we work over for anyone who cares. We work overnights. So when it comes down to us being able to play things, it depends on our schedule. So we basically had to break that up into 2 play sessions, not because the game was long, but because we didn't have the free time.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I remember whenever we were looking at a lot of those references, we didn't even notice that they were actual video game references until
for the longest time.
Until we saw in the PlayStation 1 level, it was the PlayStation 4 level.
No,
it was PlayStation 1. 2. It was one of them.
I think it was like Demon Souls. Whenever
it was Bloodborne.
That was whenever we really realized.
Yeah, they were like, oh, all these are video. No, because we saw Bloodborne, and we're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then we saw Horizon Zero Dawn,
and then we noticed the correlation between the guys, because we had noticed the guys with the cameras before.
Yeah,
but we didn't realize that the guys with the cameras were basically that's a clue to there's a game hint. Now, obviously, there are so many fantastic and great PlayStation games that they couldn't reference all of them.
Like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that was the thing. They referenced Final Fantasy VII, which I would like. Obviously, one game per franchise makes sense. Like Final Fantasy, there have been a number of them on the PlayStation, but 7 probably is the most significant. So I understand that. But like, I felt like there were a lot of really big and obvious ones that were just straight up missing.
Yeah, like. Originally we thought Spyro and
Spyro Crash.
Missing,
we found them. They're a little bit harder to find. Which yeah. I'm fine with. I'm fine with certain ones, like the real classic ones being really hard to find. It's kind of a reward for exploring through the areas. But then, like, there's stuff like, obviously, Spyro and Crash, they were there. And then, for those of you who know this game, Vibrian, it's basically like Parappa the Rapper, but a Japanese exclusive. It's a rhythm game. Anyone who watches Kid Icarus, or Cat Icarus, he talks about it a lot. And for those of you who've never heard of it, then that's kind of the point. There's a lot of more smaller niche references to other PlayStation games.
Which, a lot of them are like, maybe in Japan, as compared to here, they could be a bit more popular over there.
Well, that's why it was a Japanese exclusive game. So
yeah, exactly. So it's like...
chances are you're not going to understand all the references, but that doesn't mean they're not neat.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, I think the Astro's Playroom was definitely it definitely goes to show what the PS5 DualSense controller is capable of.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
And with the adaptive triggers and the HD Rumble, or not HD Rumble, they call it something different on the PS5, but it's the same as the HD Rumble on the Switch. It really does, in a lot of those levels, when the sandstorm happens or whenever you're skating on the ice.
And every little step you take, you feel the impact. You feel
the impact.
From the controller.
And it almost feels like there's actual sand in your hand.
It's just very interesting.
I don't know what it is. It's a very interesting feature, and I definitely am looking forward to seeing more of it in later games.
Yeah, the only issue with Astro's Playroom is the fact of if you yourself don't play it, but watch somebody else play it, I still think you should at least start it because the experience is interesting, but going through the levels, it's the novelties, you've seen it before. That's the thing about the Astro's Playroom, is that it draws you into the cuteness and the element of the unknown, but once you start going back through the levels to grab things that you miss, you just find yourself just running through everything. But it's a 2-hour tech demo, so I'm not going to grade it too harshly.
Yeah, but I think for what it is, it's definitely, they did not have to go through the effort, especially for a free game.
Oh yeah, no, they put a ton of effort into this game,
and it really just goes to show how much how much Sony actually cares, about their, well, for the most part, for their.
You always have to take those sentences with a grain of salt, how much they care about their audience.
Yeah, but
with no cross-platform play.
Whenever it comes to the other games that we got, we have...
let's talk about another launch game. Spider-Man PS4 was for the PS5. I think we should start with that before moving to Miles Morales. The Tom Holland face on Peter Parker.
I honestly am a big fan of the new face. I think it's way better, in my opinion. I don't like whenever it came to the original PS4 game, I didn't like the aging lines on Peter. I actually like the new Tom Holland face significantly better, and I think whenever you were looking at still shots of
still shots,
frames,
still images, pictures of him, and it looks weird.
Yeah, it looks a little weird, but whenever you capture it in motion, it definitely looks a lot more realistic. It definitely looks better, in my opinion, than the original PS4 version.
I've never really cared about realism. Honestly, I haven't. I did say, like, from those still images, I thought, oh, this looks terrible. But, like, in motion, I thought it looked fine. Personally, I'm a fan of the original face better, but I don't think this is a bad one. And it's lucky enough that the voice actor, his voice still works with the new face. Because that was the big thing I was concerned about, was if the voice wouldn't match. But it does, and it's fine. The web swinging, because like you said, with Astro's Playroom, you know, you feel the things in the controller whenever you walk around or spin. I was very curious about the web swinging and feeling how that works, because, like, you know, the triggers give resistances to add immersion, so different commands give different resistances depending on what you're trying to do, like driving or shooting or climbing or swinging in this case. It's not at what I thought it would be, but it's still interesting in my opinion. I thought, like, in higher G-forces the controller would shake more. It doesn't really. And when you actually shoot your webs, there's not a ton of resistance on the trigger, but there's not really supposed to be. He literally just pushes it and it shoots the web. Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. But with these...
The only issues that we really have with the game, like, it's mostly graphics look great, gameplay is the same. The Tom Holland face was the biggest change they made. In the options, for those of you who played the original PS4 game, you'll notice there's a lot of things like chase missions and science mini games and QuickTime events and all these things. In the PS5 version, in settings, whenever you start up a new game, you can actually choose to insert things to, like, auto catch up or auto complete mini games or QuickTime event auto completes, or the ability to, in the original game when you use your spider sense, enemies were highlighted in red. In the settings, you can actually choose to give different enemy types different highlight colors, so you can identify which ones are a lot easier. Personally, I feel like that kind of neuters the game, kind of takes away a lot of the challenge, and since there's already a difficulty setting, that's kind of weird to me. Now, personally, for my New Game Plus run of the game, I turned on skip QuickTime events, skip mini games, stuff. I skipped that mostly because I was trying to speedrun it.
Well, if you look at it like this, I mean, the feature was really implemented for people who have already beaten the game.
Yeah.
Especially on the PS4, because, like, there is going to be
because it was like one of the best-selling games of 2017. So.
Yeah, exactly. But there is going to be some people that haven't beaten the original game.
That's what I'm not going to complain and say, like, I'm not going to say, like, they shouldn't have done that, because it's an option. It's a setting. You can choose on or off. But I do think they went a little too far with certain settings. But, you know, if you liked the PS4 version, you'll like the PS5 version. The only real issue is the crashes.
Yeah, that's been a problem that we've been having with the PS5 lately.
We've had controller lockups. We've had the system refusing to respond. I was playing, like, right before we recorded this, and in the middle of a cutscene, the main character's audio just stopped. Like, the subtitles were still there, their motion was still there. You could hear things in the background, so there was still audio. It's just the main characters themselves, the audio just stopped working, and then the game crashed after the cutscene was over. So that was pretty lame. And it turns out, in PS5 Miles Morales, that is also an issue.
Yeah, because he hasn't actually started Miles
Morales yet. Full disclosure, I myself have not played the game, but I have watched Kodig play a little bit of it. So it's mostly going to be him talking at this point. No story beat spoilers or anything. This is mostly just gameplay mechanics and our overall feelings for it. Plus, because we got the... what is it called? What edition? The deluxe edition?
We got the deluxe edition at launch.
So there's going to be a few features that we have access to that not everyone may or may not have access to.
Now, I think anybody that bought the launch edition of the game, at least like we did, like just like at launch, would have access to most of the stuff. It's just we had the fortunate circumstance of having access to PS5 remastered Spider-Man 1. Like, because I think that's the only way to get it. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But
it's a digital game only. There's no disc as far as we know.
Yeah. But when it comes to PS5, Miles Morales, like I said, a lot of the problems that we've been having with with the game. Isn't even 9 times out of 10. It's not even with the game. It's with the system itself. It could be the game. It could be the system. I don't know what's causing it, but it keeps crashing. The system will overheat. It's not that big of a deal.
Let's be fair. The overheating was our fault. We didn't realize where all the vents were located, so we were kind of blocking them up. So the system auto shut down to prevent corruption and breaking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And whenever we loaded back in, the save files weren't corrupted or anything. There was no issues like that. It was just a little annoying. It's like, oh, looks like I gotta stop playing for 15 minutes to let the system cool down before I can go back in.
Yeah.
But we have rectified that issue, and since having done that, it's not overheated since.
Yeah, and with the Miles Morales game, I think it plays very similar. Like you said, it is really just kind of like a Spider-Man 1.5 where you're playing as Miles instead of Peter.
Yeah,
it's very similar mechanics. One of my favorite things about it is if you played the original PS4 version, you have to unlock a lot of different abilities. But in the PS5 version of the game, in Miles Morales specifically, you have most of those abilities already unlocked, which I like. That it's like a story aspect of the game, whereas like Peter would have already taught Miles a lot of these things.
Yeah, the transition between characters makes a lot more sense as to why you reset to level 1. It's because you're not playing as the same person, but you're still in the same world. And what we mean by that, when he says certain things are unlocked, is one of the first abilities you can purchase in Spider-Man PS4 is the ability of Perfect Dodge, which is basically anytime Peter's about to get hurt by anything, his spider sense goes off. With Perfect Dodge, his spider sense goes off, and then his spider sense will flash blue. If you dodge when it flashes blue, you will do a Perfect Dodge. You have to purchase that ability, though. In Miles Morales, you start the game with that. Same with throws and other certain things. And the biggest difference that I've noticed is, unlike Peter, who uses gadgets, and therefore you have to upgrade and buy gadgets as you go throughout the story, Miles doesn't, because he has different powers that Peter doesn't have, like camouflage and Venom Strikes.
I think one of my favorite things to use, like the Venom Strikes, at first I kind of like, how like a lot of
Venom Strikes basically replace the focus meter. It's not the focus meter, it's the Venom meter.
Exactly. And one of my things about like the Venom Strikes, a lot of people, whenever it comes to stuff like say with the focus meter, you like save that for whenever you need it, you know what I'm saying? But like with the Venom Strikes, there's so many different ways to just build up the Venom so much faster than it is like with, I don't know, I guess I just never really used focus all that much unless it was for healing.
The thing about the focus gauge is the fact of it tied. It's a risk versus reward. It's a risk and reward system, which I enjoy. Is the fact of you can either, when you have a full bar focus, you can either use that to instantly take down one enemy or heal yourself.
Yeah.
In Miles Morales, they change it up to your finishers are not tied to focus, they are tied to your combos.
Yeah.
Because in the first game, honestly, the only thing combos really did was increase your focus gain a little bit, and there are certain modifications you can use to increase that gain. But I like the fact, basically, it encourages you to use your finishers because you earn them by hitting enemies and not getting hit yourself.
And that's one of my favorite things is in this game, like I said, like you were saying, it actually provides incentive. It's like, hey, you worked for this, use it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's like with the Venom specifically, with the different abilities that you have access to, it changes a lot.
With Venom, you can use it in combat. You can use it in traversal.
Exactly, which is one of my favorite things about it is the traversal aspect of it, which it's not entirely like, it doesn't change it a whole lot. Like, you can just get there just as fast using the webs. However, like, for certain movements, like, I found it'd be a lot easier using, like, your Venom jump or your Venom dash. Like, whenever I was in a chase scene, I'm not going to spoil who or why, but whenever I was in a chase scene, like in the Spider-Man PS4 game, the web that when I was swinging, I was gonna hit the building that was right in front of me. However, the Venom jump allowed me to do it without slowing my momentum. Allowed me to make that gap.
Yeah.
Without slowing my momentum, and the Venom dash allows me to, catch up a little bit quicker. Now, one of the things that I do like about it is like how you build, because like it still uses your Venom, it still uses part of your Venom bar, but unlike in Spider-Man PS4, you can actually build your Venom. Well, Venom focus, we're implying the same. You can actually use your Venom or build it up outside of combat by doing tricks
You could build focus in the first game by doing tricks and web swinging at top speed in the first game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you could.
That's just
It's something that you probably didn't notice because focus drops.
Wasn't
if
really
you don't,
used, yeah.
Things focus drops if you don't use it or aren't building it. So a lot of times for like cutscenes or something like that, when Peter's kind of just standing there, but he's still technically in the game, your focus meter is dropping the entire time.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that is a feature. Like you'll probably, I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes you'll be swinging around and suddenly it'll say focus bar full.
Oh, okay.
That's because as you swing around at full speed and do tricks, you do build focus. It's just a lot of the times to prevent certain missions from being very easy, they kind of give you that. It's like, oh, your focus is dropping, but they don't tell you about that. That way you kind of don't just breeze through the game. So if you're like me, who knew that, and was like, all right, I'm not going to go now while they're still talking. Just so I can keep that focus.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, I have not played Miles Morales. Like I haven't even like touched it. I've only just because I wanted to go back through the PS5 version of Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, to re-get the platinum, to get all the trophies again, to 100% the game again, because I just loved it so much. It's probably in my top 10 favorite games of PS4 generation. So I wanted to give it the respect it deserves to go through it again before touching the sequel. And like we said before, if you think about it as purely a sequel to the first game, you might be disappointed by it. Because it feels like the things going on in the story aren't the same
level
of intensity. Because the first game has this very, very intriguing story. As like every time you uncover a clue, there's a mystery to it. Every time you uncover a clue, more questions get raised and answers. And then like the ending for those, like, the game's been out since 2017. If you haven't played it yet or haven't looked it up yet, you're not going to. So spoiler alert if that matters. When the Devil's Breath is released and the city starts everyone starts getting sick and dying, it feels, and every single act ratchets up the tension and almost the despair, and you want to keep going because you feel bad for Peter and you feel bad for the people of New York, and you want to keep trying, you want to keep going. In Spider-Man PS4, it's not quite... On Miles Morales, it's not quite the same. It feels like it's way more of a personal issue with Miles himself and his family, which not to say is a bad thing. It's just I feel like there's a lot less overall tension. So I like to think of the game not necessarily as a true sequel, but more as like another DLC. And for those of you who played the Spider-Man PS4 DLC, that one kind of sucked. So it's nice to have more. In general, it's nice to have more content.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it is, due to the fact that, like, whenever it comes to, like, Miles, he's fresh, he's new, he's inexperienced, he doesn't really know, and they actually do portray that a lot very well, like, in his combat.
There's a lot of very little animations, like when you use your webs to launch across a thing and stop again, Miles will do this kind of animation, like he's not quite used to the momentum carryover.
Or whenever he, like, if you just let him drop to the ground, sometimes he'll just plop.
In the PS4 game, Peter would catch himself and land, Miles will just go poof, and just land flat on his face on the ground, or like roll on the ground and be like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. So it's
just cute little details like that, letting you know that he's still inexperienced.
Yeah, exactly.
And also his web swinging itself, he has very, very different and unique animations to Peter, who's very... When Peter swings, it's very methodical, it's very efficient, every motion matters. And Miles, you can very much see whenever he's swinging, he's just having fun. He's letting his body spin and twirl around as he swings. One, because it's fun. Two, because he's not quite as experienced as Peter is for efficiency's sake. And three, he's just a different character, so it makes sense to give him different animations.
Yeah, exactly. And moving from, like, the combat part, like, I can't really talk about the story all that much because I don't want to give
spoilers because it's still fairly new and not everyone has a PS5 to even play.
Exactly. So, but moving on from
there is a twist, as there is always a twist. We were theory crafting throughout the beginning of it because,
and of course, that was
right. Everyone has seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That movie is fantastic. It's great. Probably the best Spider-Man movie ever made because it's just a great love letter to the character. So you know that that Miles' Uncle Aaron is the Prowler, and Uncle Aaron's in the game. So you start seeing these new enemy types and all this stuff, and you're like, we're theory crafting, like, oh, is that about this? Is that about that? Oh, is there a connection here? And so not everything is super obvious, but there is a twist that comes up that if you are a regular consumer of comic book or drama, you can probably see the twist coming a mile away. Then again, in Spider-Man PS4, you could also see the twist coming a mile away. But the difference is they layered two twists on top of one another. So it came out a lot more organic, like you think, because the first act of the game is pretty slow paced. You think it's going to be about Fisk and the result of the city, and then the second act happens, and it's about Martin Lee and his fall, and about being Mr. Negative, and then you find out about the third act. The entire game was actually about Dr. Octavius. Everything was him. Like Martin Lee started it, but Octavius is the one that actually made everything happen. And replaying the game, you really you understand that those little nods about how everything goes back to Octavius. Like every time you go back into the lab, you can see more and more things showing up, like references to AIM, or in the 3D printers, you can see bits of armor that will later be added to the Vulture and Rhino. In Miles Morales, you don't get things quite like that. It's not the game is laying simple clues. It's more of as a person who watches stuff like this a lot, I knew where they were going.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not exactly the, like,
I'm not going to say it's
Picasso of storytelling.
It's not going to say it's bad game, because it's not. It's just, it's nothing new. It's nothing spectacular.
Well, like a good quote from you, it's Spider-Man 1.5.
Yeah. But when I say Spider-Man 1.5, for any of you, this is a very different topic, who liked the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games on PS3. You had Xenoverse? Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
On the PS3.
Yeah, it launched on the PS3.
Well, I mean, I guess...
And then Xenoverse 2 came out, and it really just felt like a more polished version of Xenoverse 1. That's basically what Miles Morales is. But I like the fact that it's not called Spider-Man 2 Miles Morales, it's called Spider-Man Miles Morales. So they had the chance to make the next game, Spider-Man 2, as more like an actual sequel. Kind of like what Kingdom Hearts does.
Yeah, which would make it a lot, I personally appreciate the game.
Which, if that theory is correct of mine, I can't wait for Spider-Man Spider-Gwen. I want that game so bad.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
They have a great foundation set to do Spider-Verse stuff, because if you had the deluxe edition like we do, there's a Spider-Verse Miles Morales skin, and there's even a modification that basically makes Miles himself move like he did in that movie. So you swing around and it looks just like the movie did. It's very neat. It's a gimmick for sure, but it's something we appreciate as fans of the movie and the game.
Yeah. And moving on from like I was trying to do earlier. Moving on from Miles Morales, we got another,
we got Demon Souls.
We got Demon Souls. We got one more coming in. We haven't really played it yet.
Yeah, the thing about Demon's Souls is you got to make sure you say Demon's Souls, not Demon Souls. Fans get very upset. Now, Kodig and I have not personally put a ton of time into that game. Not that we don't like From Software games. I mean, Kodig doesn't like them, but I do.
Yeah, I'm not a very big fan. I'm not very... The term "get good" really does apply to me in a very heavy manner, because I'm not very good at those games.
Just for a little bit of background, the foundation that we lay of From Software games is the first From Software game I ever touched was Bloodborne, and I loved that game. It is my favorite PlayStation 4 game of all time, bar none. I platinumed that game. I loved it so much. Never touched the Souls games before that. And then Dark Souls 3 came out, and I wasn't going to play that game, and then I saw a weapon that I wanted to use. I was like, well, I gotta play it now. And I beat that game. I didn't platinum it, but I beat it. And then I went back and I played Dark Souls 2. I did not beat that one. Never touched Dark Souls 1. That game, it's a pinnacle of gaming. It's a big, important piece of history.
It's garbage.
Mechanically wise, bad.
It's like Kingdom Hearts 1.
Of course, personally, I kind of enjoy playing Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's like if you did not play the game when it first came out, and it is not your first experience with the genre, you will not enjoy it.
Exactly. Like whenever I first played Kingdom Hearts, I didn't play Kingdom Hearts for the first time until almost, I think it was like a year and a half ago.
It's a while ago.
Yeah, it was like a while ago. No, it was 2 years ago. Wow.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
Because I was a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts. I got the original on the PS2. Kodig never touched the series until I made him.
Yeah. And then I was like playing through it and I was like, wow, this story is just so fun and engaging and these characters are so fun, but this gameplay is fucking trash.
But Dark Souls doesn't have that advantage. There aren't characters that you really, really enjoy,
Exactly.
and the story isn't something you're like really drives you, because in Dark Souls, the story is not something you experience, it's something you uncover. And it's very depressing. So
and in
it's
the
not,
first
it's not,
Dark
it's not,
Souls
it's not
game, it's mechanically just
light
not there.
fire, kill boss, done.
Yeah, and mechanically it's just not there for me, especially. Like Bloodborne, I actually do enjoy playing Bloodborne. I don't love it like...
It's much faster, more aggressive gameplay.
Yeah, like I don't love it like Aaron does, but I definitely do appreciate it. It is my favorite of the From Software games. I still have not beaten it. I haven't even gotten past the second boss yet.
I'm just waiting for them to, honestly, at this point, I'm waiting for them to launch a PS5 version of Bloodborne with better graphics and better not mechanics, but like with the controller feedback and everything, and then platinum it again. That's what I'm waiting for. Because I tried the PS4 version on PlayStation 5, and it's exactly the same. There's no difference. So I'm gonna wait until the PS5 edition comes out, which I hope they're making that, and they should, because they're not making a Bloodborne 2. And and then when it comes to like Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, neither of us have touched that game. I had no interest in it, not because I thought the game was gonna be bad, it just wasn't the kind of gameplay I enjoyed. For Souls-like games, there's Neo. I tried that, wasn't a huge fan of it. I don't think Kotick even touched it, so we didn't bother with the sequel.
I don't really mess with Souls-like games very often. It's just not my type of game.
Yeah. So when Demon's Souls launched, full disclaimer, we didn't even purchase it. My brother did. The funny thing about that, though, is he purchased it without realizing we had a PS5.
Yeah,
because he worked at GameStop at the time. He has recently stopped working there. Because he quit. He was not fired. He was quit. I need to clarify that. He bought it because he had a discount. He was like, "Well, I'm going to play it," and then he gets home and he's like, "Oh!" he sees that we have the console, and he's put way more time into it than either of us have. But I have played and beaten the first boss, so I've been to the starting area and everything. I enjoy it. I like the fact that basically, because unlike Dark Souls 1 remaster that came out on PS4, though it basically didn't change anything other than inventory management, Demon's Souls is a from the ground up remaster. Graphics, mechanics, it's all changed and it's all better.
And honestly, it really does look beautiful. And I, as Aaron knows me for, I am a huge...
He's way more for fidelity than for performance.
Yeah, so like if a game looks good, like looks absolutely stunning, I can almost forgive gameplay. Almost all the time.
Almost.
With a few excuses. Last of Us 2.
Shots fired!
No, that's a story issue. That's not even a gameplay. No, it's a fucking gameplay issue because those goddamn dogs. I'm not even kidding.
Nimble dog.
I still haven't beaten that fucking game yet because those dogs piss me off. It's like, how am I 2 miles away from you and you are still sniffing me out? Get the fuck away from me.
That's another big difference between Kodig and myself is we are two very different kinds of gamers. While there are some overlaps in games we enjoy, there are complete different genres that one of us adore and the other one hates. And the difference is my library compared to his is much, much smaller. But I have beaten all of my games.
Well, to be fair, whenever you have like thousands of games...
He doesn't have thousands of games. He has like over 100 on the PS4 alone.
I have over 200 on the PS4 alone.
Now, granted, some of those are PS3 remakes and stuff like that, but
no, I have a good selection of around a couple of hundred, a lot more than a couple of hundred games.
How long have you been going for?
I'm not entirely sure.
Sorry, we don't have a time frame on this. This is our first time doing this.
34 minutes.
Oh, it's only been half an hour? Oh, I thought we were going for way longer. Good. All right. Good. I didn't want this to end up being like a 4-hour podcast for our very first time. I was like, no one's gonna freaking listen to that.
You know, I just think, you know, with the PS5 and the new games, I mean, honestly, me personally, I'm a buyer. I I'm a collector. I need more. Like with my PS4, I keep buying new games. And with PS5, it's like they've only had so many titles at launch, and only so many that I was interested in having in the first place. Like I bought Assassin's Creed Valhalla because it was on sale at GameStop. I was like, wow, I'm interested. I haven't played Origins and I haven't played Odyssey, but I'm definitely interested in Valhalla.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Kotick played the earlier games. I have played the later games. My first Assassin's Creed game that I actually played was Origins, and I thought that game was I thought it was fun. I liked the map. I liked the story, and then I got right up till the end, and then I stopped caring. And then I got Odyssey. No, because I really like ancient Greece, and I think it's really cool. And the gameplay was interesting, and the character of Cassandra, because I played as Cassandra, she was fine, I guess. I like that there's a lot of romance options, but I'm upset that they don't really go anywhere. You get the chance to sleep with this person, and then that's it. I got about halfway. And when I say halfway, I don't know story-wise. I don't know how far I got during the story, but when it came to just exploring the map, I got about 50% done with exploring the map. And then I was just done. Because in my opinion, and this is going to sound like gamer heresy, the map is too big. And there's no fun and easy way of traversing it.
It's kind of like that problem that Banjo and Kazooie Nuts and Bolts had. Big open world.
Nothing to do in it.
Nothing to do.
But the thing is, it's not though. Because in Assassin's Creed, there's plenty of things to do.
Oh, it's just too much?
It's just too much.
Oh,
and
okay.
Also effective, it's like... oh wait, no, you haven't. Yeah, I was gonna make a comparison, but you haven't played that yet, so I can't make the comparison. It's just there's so many things to do, and a lot of them don't matter. Let's compare this to another game that we've played, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. That map is also very large. I think it's I don't know comparison size, which one is bigger or not, but Breath of the Wild it's a big game with a big map. Difference is, though, and there actually aren't a ton of things to do. Like, you have the shrines, which are 120, you have the sacred beasts, which are the 4 main dungeons, and there's a lot of exploring around. But Breath of the Wild, I always found exploring fun and interesting.
Because there was actually things to discover.
There's things to discover and things to look and things to explore. And the story, it was very, very basic, but they utilized that to their advantage. In Assassin's Creed, there's just so much lore in history that you don't care about. Not to say that nobody cares about it, because I'm not going to call Assassin's Creed fans idiots, because honestly, people like what they're going to like, and I have no qualms with that. It's just me personally, it seems like they're stretching further and further away from the modern day story of that, and delving more on the ancient past, which I think is a good idea. The problem is they keep hearkening back to the modern day story that no one seems to care about anymore. So it's
really?
Like there's this weird whiplash effect where they because they force you to stop playing as Cassandra to wake up and discuss the events of the story with this one random girl who they just leave and introduce.
Wait, I didn't even know they did that. I thought it was literally just going back.
No.
To wow, they still have
still
the
do
whole.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought after Desmond died in 2. I thought that was just over.
No, because
I don't know. I haven't played any games.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Or sorry, 3. I haven't played anything plus 3.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is the 4th game, I do believe. You're not even playing as Desmond. You're playing as some random guy, basically testing a video game. Or that's what.
But isn't it based on your ancestry?
Yes. So he's still an ancestry with an assassin. It's just the guy is just there. They don't explain anything about him, and then he never appears again. I think the concept of Assassin's Creed is very good and very interesting. It's just I feel like these story writers are weighed down too much by the overall premise.
But that's Connor's grandfather.
I don't know, man.
Right?
I could, disclaimer, I could be wrong. I didn't finish Black Flag. I started it. The reason I didn't finish it is because I got the game on the PS3 3 years into me owning a PS4. So I was like, graphics and mechanics wise, I'm like, I've played and beaten Origins. This is not as good in my opinion. So I didn't get super deep into the game. And that's always been my philosophy. If you have played a later version of a game series, it's very, very hard to go back and play earlier iterations of that game
trying
series.
To go back to play Kingdom Hearts 1 to platinum it, or me starting off with Dragon Age Inquisition
and then going back to Origins.
Yeah, because a little.
You're playing unpolished mechanics of a game you've already of a series that you've been playing.
Well, one of my things is I was playing it on the PS4, so I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition. I beat it. I really love the story. I really like the graphics at the time. It was pretty nice.
Inquisition, I think, is the best BioWare game so far. No, well, I can't say best BioWare game in general. I'm talking about compared to Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I think Inquisition is the best out of those.
I mean, I disagree, but I just think that going back, like from Dragon Age Inquisition to Dragon Age Origins, I was just looking at it. I was like, oh my, like.
The gameplay
looks like trash.
The gameplay is a lot slower. There's a lot of mechanics that are here that aren't in the later games. The graphics-wise, it's not great.
It's like how a lot of people compare, like, honestly, to me, like, just graphics-wise, it's a lot harder to go back to older games. Like, people who go from, like, Skyrim or to Morrowind or to Oblivion, and I'm like, but Oblivion looks like shit. Like, it looks like trash. Comparatively, yeah. And then you go back to Morrowind, which looks even fucking worse. It's like Fallout 4 versus Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, Fallout New Vegas is a better game.
I do think
story-wise.
I do think, however, there is something you can do. Like, for example, let's bring in the Fallout games. If you play like Fallout 4 and then go back to the original Fallout game, I think that's fine because they're wildly different mechanics.
Yeah.
So you can do that. But if it's like same gameplay mechanics, same general notion and ideas, and then you go back to an earlier version of that, it's kind of not great.
Yeah, it's just a whole different experience.
I can say this, though. One time I played a game in a later series and I went back to earlier iterations of it and liked it, was in the Saints Row series.
Yeah.
I started with Saints Row 4, mostly because I'd never heard of Saints Row until that point. I saw YouTubers at the time playing it. I was like, oh, that's neat, mechanics-wise. So I went and I played it, and I beat it. And then I was like, oh, there's other games. And I went back and I played 2, mostly because I'm a PlayStation owner. I'd never had an Xbox, and the original Saints Row is an Xbox exclusive. I have played it since, but back then I had no access to it. So I played 2, and I love 2. 2 is my favorite game in the series because of the story and the characters. Like, mechanics-wise, I want a remaster. I'm so upset they remastered 3 before they remastered 2. So I went back and I played 4 first, and then I went back and played 2, and then I played 3. And then, obviously, I played Gat Out of Hell, and then I went back and I played Saints Row 3 Remastered, and I played the first game, because we got an Xbox One.
Well, there's
I played the first game, and that one was fine. Story-wise, I like the story. Gameplay and mechanics, it's very flawed.
So there's actually a pretty interesting story behind that whole Xbox thing. Whenever it came to Saints Row, I was on Saints Row 4 at the time, and I'm not very far into it. I wasn't very far into it. And then I went and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna continue playing this until I play the first one.
Because there's so many references.
Exactly. So much stuff that I'm just missing out on. And then I went up to Aaron and I was like, Aaron had told me that was an Xbox exclusive. And I was like, well, shit, that means I'd have to buy a freaking console. And he was like...
We think it was a 360 exclusive, and we're like, we don't want to buy a 360. Because even when they were new, they had a habit of bricking themselves.
And then I was like, it was Xbox... I was like, it was backwards compatible with the Xbox One.
We found out it was backwards compatible. So
and then he was like, well, let's go buy one. And I was like, for reals? He was like, yeah, let's go buy one.
Well, the reason I said let's go buy one is because I've been wanting to play the first game for years. But also, there were a couple of other Xbox exclusives that I had been curious about.
Like Sunset Overdrive?
Which I was hugely disappointed by.
Yeah. Well, with me, I was just excited for one. I'm a collector, so I like collecting consoles. But I was excited to play Halo because at the time, I had never played a Halo game. I mean, I still haven't beaten all of them, but I had never played a Halo game until that point.
I beat a Halo game. I think it was Halo 4 but I beat it in co-op because a mutual friend of ours, you know who I'm talking about, we just co-opted it together because I was spending the night, and so we just kind of just sat down and just played through it because he wanted to, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And having played Halo 4 with no prior context and no investment in the series, it was fine. Mechanics wise, it was Halo. Story, I wasn't really super concerned about because like things about Halo 4, the story of it is you really kind of have to be invested, otherwise you don't care.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Some context: I'm not a huge fan of shooters. I'm not bad at them. It's just I can't sit down and play them for hours. What?
Keep your head in front of the mic.
Keep my head in front of the mic.
Yes, keep your head in front of the mic.
I'm actually doing this so that way I don't get that sound.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm tilting my head slightly to the side.
No, I'm saying like you keep going like this.
Well, yeah.
So it makes it hard to hear.
All right, clap point. Continuing story. Where was I? Oh well. I'm not a huge fan of shooters, not because I'm bad at them, because I can't just sit down and play them for hours. Like Destiny, I got the original Destiny, and then I got Destiny 2, and I played those. And Ryan, who is he's another member. He's going to come into these podcasts intermittently. He's not going to be on every episode. He loves Destiny. He loves Destiny 2. He really enjoys playing it. I can't. But the thing is, though, also he's a huge fan of MMOs in general.
Yeah.
And Destiny is an MMO shooter.
Here's my thing. I'm a huge fan of shooters.
Like Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch.
Rainbow Six, Overwatch. Not really much into COD, but like Mass Effect. Third person, first person shooters doesn't really matter to me.
Like I can play games like Fallout 4 and stuff like that. I can use shooting as mechanics, but it's not quite a shooter.
It's more of an RPG that has guns.
Exactly.
But like whenever you have like Mass Effect where it is a shooter, it's like the opposite effect. Like Fallout, let's say Fallout and Mass Effect comparatively. Fallout is an RPG that has guns. Mass Effect is a shooter that's an RPG. It's like potato.
It's Destiny is an MMO that's a shooter.
Yeah, and Destiny is an MMO that's a shooter. Now, here when it comes to Destiny, it's just the MMO aspects of it really drag me down.
The long grind.
Exactly.
The lack of a huge meaningful story.
One of the biggest problems, the lack of the story. Now, to me,
there is a story. We're not going to say there isn't one. It's not one that's presented easily and obviously to the player. Which, I like Dark Souls, and Dark Souls doesn't do that either. But the difference is, I like Dark Souls mechanics, so I can get around that.
To me, I like having a comprehensive story that I don't have to go outside of the game in order to look at. Now, I understand that sounds a bit hypocritical with Overwatch being one of my favorite games. However, Overwatch was not designed as a story-based game. It was designed as an online multiplayer shooter that
the history
have.
The history of Overwatch is very interesting. Cause
there's
a game, and then a movie, and then a game, and then a series, and then a game. So it's like, eh. So there is history and characters to it, and I hope one day they do actually turn that into something, because I think that'd be very interesting. Because I love the world of Overwatch. I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay, just because it's an arena shooter, and I don't like those.
No, me personally, Overwatch 2 is actually in the works, if I'm not mistaken. I remember hearing about that. And they're actually planning on putting a campaign mode inside of the Overwatch 2. Which
interesting.
I will definitely be a part of. I will be there if it happens. I will totally 100% be there, but I'm actually hoping that the show comes out, that they come out with the show.
Yeah.
Because I will binge that show, especially if they do it with like animation quality that they've been doing.
Oh yeah, this is beautiful, gorgeous animation. It's
exactly.
Like stellar 3D anime.
And you know my baby Tracer, bro. I gotta,
The woman who's older than you are.
That doesn't count.
Doesn't count?
It doesn't count.
She's not real.
She's not real. If you look at it this way, she's technically 4, so no.
Oh, that's creepy. That's worse. That's worse.
No, she. Anyways, moving on from where I don't even know how we got
losing train of thought.
Yeah, I don't even know.
This is supposed to be more focusing on the PS5, but the issue with us being on the PS5 is it's still fairly new. There aren't a ton of games on it, and the games that are on it, we don't own them all.
Yeah, we don't own them all, so it's a bit of a. I mean, overall, I'd say like software-wise, I do definitely very much enjoy having the PlayStation Store automatically load, not being its own separate app.
Loading times are really fast in game. It's
like,
really
oh my goodness,
the fact that it skips,
so fast.
The fact that it skips all of the studio logos after your first time plugging in, that's very helpful. Issues that we have with it is there's no way to modify your profile.
There's no themes.
There's no themes on it.
There's
It's
no
very upsetting.
themes.
I hope they fix that in future updates.
Why would you get rid of themes? Like, I get it. It shows the background of the game that you currently have selected or
But
whatever.
the PS4
like,
already did that.
Yeah, but like, what? I want my themes back, dude.
Yeah.
You know how many themes I have on my PS4?
Yeah.
I was literally going to the store.
The first thing that we did.
The second I got the PS5, Aaron can attest to this. I opened up the PlayStation Store and looked for themes and could not find them.
And that's really upsetting to me because there are a lot of games on the PS4 and even on the PS3 that beating them gave you their theme.
Like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, or
which is Aaron's actual PS4 theme.
Yeah.
To date.
Yep. It's the original one. 6 out of 10. Artwork is gorgeous. The sound effect of the Kingdom Hearts menu, fantastic.
Why is
Dearly Beloved not playing? Give me the music. And you can't say they can't do that because also the Bloodborne theme, and that plays Bloodborne music. 6 out of 10. This is unfreaking acceptable.
Could have been 10 out of 10.
Could have been 10. Could have been easy 10 out of 10. Could have charged me $30. Still would have bought it.
Kind of like
shut up and take my money, Square Enix.
Kind of like Melody of Memory.
I'm getting Melody of Memory mostly just because it's a Kingdom Hearts game, and I like supporting Kingdom Hearts.
No.
And also, there is lore in it, so that's good. I still have not bought or played the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, just because it's not been a huge concern of mine. Like, I want to get it, and I want to beat it. It's just... I was kind of disappointed with Kingdom Hearts 3. As a longtime fan, story-wise, I must say, story-wise, I was disappointed in Kingdom Hearts 3. Mechanics-wise, I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. A little on the easy side, but other than that, I thought it was great.
No, I haven't beaten Kingdom Hearts 3 yet.
Because we had this giant... I've been basically whipping Kodig to get through the Kingdom Hearts games. So he's played and beaten all of them except for 3. On 3, he's still in the first galaxy. But
there's more than one galaxy?
Yes, there's always more than one galaxy. In Kingdom Hearts 1, the first galaxy was Traverse Town, Deep Jungle, Alice in Wonderland, and Hercules. And then it unlocks the second galaxy, which was...
Wow, there's a lot of shit I still got to do. I thought I was like halfway through the game.
You thought there were only 4 worlds?
No, I thought there was 8.
There are 9.
Oh, okay. So there's not as much as I thought it was. Okay.
I just said the first galaxy. I didn't say like the first of 8 galaxies, which honestly I would have been freaking okay with. I would have loved doing that. Honestly, I feel like they should have delayed the game a year.
Yeah.
The Square Enix forced them to switch over to the Unreal Engine, so they lost all their work. They had to save what they could and port it over. I wish they had delayed another year just to give us the story, to fill in the story. Mechanics-wise, the worlds they implemented, that could have all been the same. I just wanted more story that mattered.
Yeah,
because it feels like you have story at the very beginning, and then all the rest of the story is pushed in at the very, very end. Like, there's very little to do in the interim. And then also Disney being a giant corporation and basically neutering Nomura's idea for the Frozen world. Like, he had this really great idea and concept for it. Or, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but anyone who's played and enjoys Kingdom Hearts 3 has probably heard the theory that the direction of Arendelle was supposed to go a very different way than it did. But Disney stepped in because it's like Frozen is her biggest product.
Frozen is her biggest product.
Product is their biggest. Did you just assume their gender? Is their biggest moneymaker, and it's been that way for years. So I guess they didn't like the negative light.
Especially with Frozen 2 coming out, either just before or just after.
I don't remember when it came out. It was near, or it was around the time.
Yeah.
So they basically made Nomura not do what he wanted, and basically that's why Arendelle feels so odd, and like you don't get a lot of the story, and it's just you go up the mountain and then you're knocked down, and then you go up the mountain and then you're knocked down again. It's like because there was supposed to be a different story there. Not going to get too deep into Kingdom Hearts 3 because honestly, Kingdom Hearts is a podcast we could go on all its own.
Yeah, which we'll probably cover that at some point.
Oh, of course we will. Of course we will. We'll also go more into BioWare and other things like that. Basically, any long-running series that we enjoy personally, obviously, is going to be fair game. But this is mostly more about PS5 and games associated with it.
Now, I think there's a bit of a balancing that we have to do whenever it comes to, this is the first episode, so it's going to be a bit, offshoot, a little bit different than...
It's going to follow more of a flow of conversation.
Exactly.
We don't have a script. We don't really have an overall...
I think later episodes...
We have an overall topic in mind, but we don't have we need to talk about this, this, and this.
I think later episodes, we're still going to have we're not going to have a script, and we're not going to have we're still going to go freedom of conversation. However, I think we're going to have a little bit more of a structure, for what we're doing specifically.
The Ray Gun recap?
I think, for one, we're just gonna try to like up the quality, up what add some focus, make it funnier.
You underestimate my power.
You underestimate my laugh.
Good comeback. Good improv. Well done.
My improv is not on it today. I'm tired.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. Yeah.
For those of you who care, we're recording this the night of Thanksgiving, so we're
A little tired.
a little tired, a little stuffed, a little.
I'm not stuffed. I haven't eaten in 3 days.
You should take better care of yourself.
Probably.
Like we said, we work nights, so inconvenience for family who want to do things with us during the day.
Yeah. But, we've been at this for about an hour, so...
Around an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and call it there.
We're gonna go ahead and call it there.
I heard an update on the computer.
Oh, that's something. That's...
Notifications.
Well, yeah. Well, we're gonna go ahead and call it here, just...
Keep an eye on our channels for more podcasts like this and other content
animations,
and features.
We
don't know overall where we're gonna post this yet. If it's gonna be exclusively on YouTube, or if we're gonna do SoundCloud or Spotify or what, we will let you know when that hangs. And we're not gonna do like a Facebook or a Twitter or anything like that, mostly because
not for a while.
Because first off, we don't have the audience for it, and second, they're garbage.
Yeah. So. Until next time, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Work in progress.
So the channel, work in progress. I can't find the channel. It's because it's not the name. Then why'd you say it was?
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Eternal Council. I am Kodig signing off.
I am Aaron.
And we're out of here. Crack it.